Zoom Administration, Account Management. In this lesson, we will cover the following: Account Profile, Account Settings, Billing, Recording Management, IM Management, Dashboard, Reports, and Webinar Settings. The Account Profile page gives you some basic information on your account, such as type, name, and account number. Also, if you are the owner, it is from this section that you can transfer ownership to a different user on your account. For business accounts and higher, this is where you can apply for managed domains, where you'll register a domain name or multiple domain names that you own so that anyone who signs up for Zoom with an email address from that domain will be automatically added to your account. If you are on a business account or higher, you can also apply for a vanity URL. A vanity URL is a subdomain off the main Zoom URL and is used for branding and SSO deployments. On the Usage Overview tab, you'll see how much cloud recording storage you are using and what your maximum storage is. You are given 1 GB of storage for every Pro license on your account. So, for example, if you have 10 Pro licenses on your account, you are given 10 GB of cloud recording storage. This is shared across the account, so all users pull from the 10 GB pool of storage capacity. From the Account Settings page, you can select default options or disable options for the entire account. Any change you make here will affect all users on your account. As with your personal meeting settings, any changes you make to basic or advanced in-meeting settings will not take effect for any meeting that is already in session. From basic in-meeting settings, you can select encryption, enabling of chat, feedback to Zoom, co-host being on or off by default, polling, and other in-meeting settings such as putting attendees on hold, showing the meeting toolbar, and allowing to share Zoom windows when sharing your desktop. From advanced in-meeting settings, you can enable or disable file transfer, allow group HD video, enable DSCP marking for quality of service on your network, virtual background, and more. In Schedule Meeting, you can set the default value of on or off for the options you see here, such as enabling join before host, audio options, and even requiring a password for personal meetings if attendees can join before host. In the Join Meeting section, you can restrict who is allowed to join your Zoom meetings. You can set it so that only signed-in users can join, meaning that users must have a Zoom account to join your meeting. You can also set it so that only users signed in from a specific email domain can join. This is helpful if you want to restrict your meetings so that only those from your company can join. For recording, you can enable or disable local and cloud recording, allow automatic recordings, various options for when you share cloud recordings, and auto deletion of cloud recordings. You can also select which events will trigger an email from when cloud recordings are available, if an attendee joins your meeting before the host, and more. And under audio options, you can select what users will have access to in their desktop client settings for stereo or original sound options. Under the Integration section, you can select what programs individuals can share directly from their iOS device. And for those who are more security-minded, you have the sign-in password requirements, where you can enforce enhanced password rules such as increasing the minimum length, requiring letters, numbers, special characters, and case sensitivity. You can also expire passwords and more. Lastly, you can also control which toll-free and premium numbers your Pro users will have access to or choose to hide all of them. And you can also select the default dial-in numbers for all your users. From the Billing tab, you can access your invoice history, which, as the name suggests, is a history of your invoices. From the Billing Information tab, you can enter your billing information, including selecting your currency and updating your credit card. From the Plan Selection tab, you will see a list of your current subscriptions as well as available add-ons towards the bottom of the page. Under your subscriptions, you may see an edit link on the right-hand side. This will allow you to make changes to your subscription online. However, if you only see the Contact Sales link, then you will need to reach out to our sales team to make a change to that particular subscription. From the Recording Management section, you will be able to see all cloud recordings saved in your account. Individuals can always access their cloud recordings by going to My Recordings or via the desktop client. When in Recording Management, you'll be able to see the meeting host, topic, meeting ID, start time, and file size of the recording. This can help you quickly identify rather large files in case you want to delete them. You can then delete an individual recording, delete all recordings, or delete selected recordings. If you click on a meeting topic, you can drill down further to see the individual files that were recorded. Here, you will see anywhere from 1 to 4 files. The first file, labeled Recording 1, is the active speaker view of the meeting or webinar. It will contain the content share, audio, and video thumbnail of the active speaker. This is a video file in the MP4 format. You can then choose to download the file, or if you click on Share, you will get a link that you can use to share your recordings via the Zoom cloud. You also have the option to enable Access Password to password protect the link and give you an extra layer of security. If you share via the Zoom cloud, you will also have a tally counter that will show you how many times the link has been accessed for the current month. And you can choose to delete the file if desired. The next possible file is the gallery view recording. This is also a video file in the MP4 format. This view will record the gallery view whenever there isn't any screen sharing occurring. You can then download, share, or delete this file. You can also record an audio-only file, which will be in the M4A format. This is a recording of just the audio of your meeting and can be useful if you're transcribing the meeting. Lastly, you can record the in-meeting chat. This will be a .text file that you can download, share, or delete. If you share the file, please note the following. As the host, if you had any private chats, these private chats are recorded in the text file. Therefore, be sure to review the text to make sure there's nothing confidential that may get distributed if you share the text file through the Zoom cloud. With Zoom Instant Messaging, you can set up IM groups to better organize your Zoom users in the desktop client's contacts. We see here the IM groups are based on department. However, you can create the groups in any way that works best for your business needs. For example, you can create IM groups based on region, sales territory, or project management teams. When you create IM groups, this will then populate your contacts list accordingly. Here we see the billing group, and when I look at my desktop client, I see the billing group. Same for channel. However, I don't see the company group in my desktop client, and that is because of the group type. Let's take a look at group types now. You can have a normal group, which means that the group name is not published to the contact list, but you will be able to search for members of that group. With a shared group, that means the group name is published to the contact list. I can then expand the group to see the members, see their status, and hover over their name to open a chat or start a meeting with them. Lastly, there is the restricted group. A restricted group is not published to the contact list, and unlike a normal group, I cannot search for members of a restricted group. Zoom offers you various reports to give you detailed insight into your users, performance, and usage on your system. So let's take a look at each report. Here we have the daily report. This report gives you numbers on a daily basis where you can see how many new users were created, meetings held, total participants, and meeting minutes used. If we select the date dropdown, we see that we have access to the current month and then the previous 6 months. This is as far back as you can go. Therefore, if you need data for a longer period of time, be sure to export the data before it is no longer available. All Zoom reports can be exported as a CSV file. The Active Host report shows data on user activity. You can see user activity either by meeting topic or by user. You can then drill down into a specific user and then drill down into a specific meeting by clicking on the participant count on the right-hand side. The Inactive Host report is useful to help you manage your license usage and consumption. We define an inactive host as someone who has not hosted a Zoom meeting in 30 days or more. This does not mean they are not attending or using Zoom. It just means they are not hosting meetings. If you have an inactive host, if desired, you can make them a basic license user, then reallocate that pro license to someone who will be a more active user. With Zoom meetings, you can require registration and use polling. The meeting reports is where you can view the registration and polling reports. The webinar reports give you 5 different options. You can generate a registration report, which can be generated before the webinar is hosted. After the webinar has been hosted, you can then generate an attendee, performance, Q&A, and poll report. If you have the premium audio package, you can view a basic telephony report that will show you who is using the toll-free dial-ins and call-out functionality. The cloud recording report will show you your usage over time, and if you click on Details, you can see a more granular view of cloud recording usage. You can then select Group by Hosts so that you can view the report on a per-user basis. Lastly, if you use the remote support feature, you can generate a report to show the sessions for a specified date range. You will see the supporter, supportee, session duration, and start times. Although individuals can always make changes to their webinar settings, as an administrator, you can set the default settings for webinars, then users can change them on a one-off basis as needed. You can upload the default banner and logo, which will be used on the registration page and confirmation email. You can then edit the various emails that are sent out as part of the registration workflow, including follow-up emails and post-attendee URL. You can also edit the default registration settings, email settings, and control which options are available to stream a webinar, and then settings for the integration options you may have enabled.